Let's hear it for the band. All right, welcome everyone. I'm so glad to see you all out on this rainy Sunday morning, Super Bowl Sunday, and all that, but I promise we'll get you out in time for the Super Bowl, okay? We have a lot going on in our activities today, and it's pretty exciting. This is the month we're celebrating love. It's love in action. And so this week we're having some special guests talk to us about a wonderful service opportunity for our congregation, and we'll introduce them in a minute. But I want to welcome you who are here in the room and those who are online today, and anyone who is new here today to Unity of Richmond. Maybe you've been to Unity, but you're here with us, so welcome. We want to welcome you, and if you raise your hand, we have a Connect card, a little packet that if you want to get connected with us and all of the fun and exciting things that we're doing here, fill out the Connect card, and Bob or Rob will hand those out to you. All right. So let us say our diversity statement together. Unity of Richmond is a safe and welcoming spiritual home that stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion for all people, including, but not limited to, color, age, ability, gender expression, culture, socioeconomic status, sexual orientation, and belief. That is a lot to live up to, I will say. And, when I first came here, we had our cultural arts and awareness diversity team got together and created this statement together so that it represented what we wanted to say about inclusion and diversity. All right, our service leader today is the wonderful Reverend Robin Moore, and she's going to share the daily word. We have Armand and Vicki Leak in the house as our guest vocal, or not guest, but they're our vocalists today. Yes.
All right. There's a lot of stuff going on up here, so good morning. Good morning. So our daily word today is strength. It's easy when you trust God. Centered in divine strength, I am confident and peaceful. That's the affirmation. Centered in divine strength, I am confident and peaceful. If I find myself struggling to bear the weight of a heavy load, if I'm wondering how much further I can travel or how much longer I can carry on, I rely on my spiritual strength to keep me going. That's the truth. When I align my thoughts with this divine gift and not on the weight I carry or the distance I have to travel, I am tapping into the power of God expressing as me. Through divine strength, I am renewed and refreshed. I have everything I need to stay the course, knowing the presence of God comes to me through many channels. I may ask for help and accept it graciously when it comes. I give myself breaks and make time for prayer and my other spiritual practices. Through it all, I remain strong and grateful for the God within me. And the scripture is Ephesians 6:10. Finally, be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his power. So let's say the affirmation together 3 times. Strength centered in divine strength. I am confident and peaceful. Again, strength centered in divine strength. I am confident and peaceful. Strength centered in divine strength. I am confident and peaceful.
Everybody stand, let's sing.
Sometimes in our lives, we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride. If I have faith, you need to borrow, for no one can fill those of your needs that you won't let show. So just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. So just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on. If there is a load you have to bear that you can't carry, right up the road, I'll share your load. If you just call me, call me, call me, call me, call me.
So I just invite us all to take a breath. And we just give thanks for this moment right here, right now, as we gather one mind, one body, one spirit. For we know that there is no separation. There is only oneness. And we are grateful for this time to be here collectively as a body, as a consciousness, open and receptive to all that is going on here today, to show up fully present and awake, knowing that we each have a part in this service, in this moment, in this time. And we are grateful for the gift that we contribute, the gift we receive, for all the parts that make this service wonderful, and for us being together as one. And we just give great thanks as we remember and know that we are spirit expressing, and so it is. Amen. So together, let's do the metro prayer. It appears and it disappears. All right, together we'll say, we pray for the coming of God's realm in metropolitan Richmond, for healthy economic development which enhances the metropolitan community, employs the unemployed, and contributes to the common good. Amen. So we have opportunities. Let's see what comes up first. Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure I got the order right. Gospel and Spirituals and Music will be next Sunday at the 11 o'clock service. It will be presented by Katrina, our own Katrina Carol Lewis, diving deeper into Black influence in spiritual music. Be here. Next. Tell your friends. Get excited. Learn to love yourself. That will start on February 12th. It's a 3-week course. It'll be 6:30. Looks like it is going to be here at the church. It's a 3-week series. Oh, Zoom. Okay. Excuse me. It's going to be Zoom. This 3-week series makes meditation easy and accessible. It is perfect for beginners and experienced meditators, so all are welcome. It says bring a friend and be there or be square. Next week, we will have a guest, 2 weeks from now. That's 3 weeks from now. On February 25th, as you can see, I haven't done this in a long time, okay? Thank you, Mayor. Save me. On February 25th, we will have Reverend Patty Bittner here. She will be talking on Carry the Vision. It'll be at 11 o'clock. Again, be here or be square. It's going to be great. And Valerie, you're going to be visiting. All right, next we have, I got to pay attention to these announcements. Hold on. I'm going to go back. We have a guest here this evening. His name is Mr. Denzel Mitchell, and he will be talking about risk. And Barbara will come up in a few minutes and share more. Our own Barbara Smith will come up. Beautiful Barbara Smith will come up and share. And there is one other announcement. The 4T refresher is postponed, and there will be another date announced. I think I've got them. It's you next. It's too much stuff. Thank you for me.
Good morning, folk. I'm here to introduce you to a new outreach program that Unity is involved in. And if you look up at the screen, it says risk. I'm going to tell you what risk is about. Richmonders Involved to Strengthen Our Communities is an organization made of congregants throughout the Richmond metropolitan area. RISK uses the power of large numbers of organized people to solve critical community problems. RISK is not a direct service provider, rather it's a grassroots, direct action, multi-issue organization. I'm going to stop here and throw in my piece. There are about 25 congregants across the Richmond metropolitan area that are included in this RISK program. The good thing about it, risk is about you showing up. Showing up is what we want. Our bodies are the resources, and we're encouraging you as we go through this program to participate in it. As it said, it's not a service-oriented. We have service programs that are doing a darn good job. Caritas, Habitat for Humanity. What we're showing up in big numbers to make political statements with our government officials. And so 3 focus issued items that risk is dealing with. The first one I'm going to talk about, and this is in no order of importance, but is affordable housing. A crisis hit our city before COVID, and it has gotten worse. Half of all Richmond residents cannot afford to pay their rent. RISK got the city to start putting money in 2014 into the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. However, not enough money was put in, and it has not resulted in units for the households that mostly need it. In 2021, RISK won passage of an ordinance that dedicated a stream of funding for the trust fund. This fund was projected to grow to $10 million and beyond within a few short years. But wait for it, the city administration refused to follow the orders. But one word I heard out throughout the meeting at RISK was a hollow word, persistence, and that's what RISK is all about. So with our persistence, this past spring, after continuing to cry out about the crisis, the city administration agreed to allocate an estimated $10 million in bond revenue to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund for the next 5 years for a total of $50 million. As usual, RISK is always looking ahead, so this year, RISK is calling upon the city to allocate an additional $10 million early revenue and dedicated tax monies to address the crisis even more meaningfully. Another one of the big issues, gun violence. This year, our city has seen a 12% increase in homicides. Since June 2020, RISK has been reaching out to Mayor Stoney to bring a proven gun violence intervention program called GVI, Gun Violence Intervention. Because of risk persistence, because of course the city turned us down, Mayor Stoney turned us down, because of risk persistence, one of Richmond's risk allies, Real Life, received state funding to implement GVI. So Real Life was turned down, so they moved on to Hopewell. Hopewell, as so far, has resulted in a 71% reduction in shooting and homicides. Another issue for risk, and I want to let you know that with Risk Star, when they get a hold of something, as we say in South, they don't let it go. They are very persistent. Healthy housing is an issue. In the fall of 2021, Risk identified another problem that is both a housing issue and an environmental justice issue. About 1,000 families are living in mobile homes that are in horrific disrepair. As a result, families are living in extreme heat during the summer and extreme cold into winter, not thinking about the leaky roofs that causes mold and health issues. Risk identified a mobile home repair and replacement program as a solution. As usual, with risk persistence for a year, Richmond City Council allocated $800,000 for this program this past spring. Risk planned to ensure that the funding is allocated and family homes and repaired or replaced, as well as working to ensure that a significantly greater amount of funding gets allocated this year. I want to explain to you what we talked about when we were talking about bodies. Mary Beth, Dr. Edie, Eric, and I have attended a couple of rallies. The first one we attended was over 150 people. We had a councilwoman there to speak. We had a police officer from Hopewell. So you look around, and 150 people was just like not ministers. It was the congregants that followed Risk. It was so powerful to me that we not only needed a translator for Spanish, we needed a translator for Swahili. Then this big rally we attended, when our leaders were speaking at City Council. Again, the crew, Eric, Dr. Edie, Mary Beth, and myself, and Madeline Pleasant joined us. We were 75 strong. Plus, Risk colors are red and black, and so we were encouraged to wear that. When our speakers got up, we stood up, 75 strong before City Council. We mean business, which means our bodies are votes. Our friends, our church members, our families, we need to show up and show these government officials that we mean business. There's a big rally coming up next month, Nehemiah Act. I think the last time they had it was like 15,000 people. We want 2,000. We want you to commit your body because we're going to have a panel of officials there, and we want to show them that we mean business. Today we have the associate coordinator, Denzel Miller, here, and he's going to take up where I left off. But I want you to very much consider your friends, your bodies as resources. Denzel is going to be here after the service to answer questions, and if you want to sign up right away to be a part of the Nehemiah rally, please do so. If you need to think about it, take it home. And I think it's ours to do, because that's who we are at Unity. Denzel?
Hello, hello. Hello. Good morning. I think there's a video that we're going to show showing the conditions of the mobile homes that Barbara was referring to. Are we going to show that now? Okay.
water constantly getting in. This is the room where their children sleep. As you can see, it wobbles when you step on it. This is from the water damage. They worry that one day the floor will collapse. And here, underneath the bed, you can see the area they try to cover up, where rats have chewed a hole in the trailer and regularly come and go. This is Francisco and Socorro. The floor of their home has collapsed in places. You can see that what they've done is put down wooden boards with rugs over them so that they can still walk throughout the home without the risk of falling. Next, meet Catarino. Like the others, this is the only home that Catarino can afford to live in. The ceiling is collapsing due to the roof leaking. Water comes in, down the walls, and here into the bathroom and pools at the base of the tub, putting great pressure on the floor. Paulina's problem is similar to Catarino's, but more extensive. About 6 months ago, Paulina's electricity stopped working. She is now able to turn her lights on, but she cannot plug in her larger appliances like her space heater or air conditioning unit. On top of that, the water damage throughout the home has ripped away the insulation that was once there. With no insulation and no heat, Paulina's home was freezing this past winter and will be dangerously hot this coming summer if nothing is done. This is Paulina's bathroom. Similar to Catarino's, the water is causing the tub to sink into the ground. Rats and other pests come up through the hole you can see here.
So these are the conditions that many risk members actually live in. We started working on mobile home repair because there are members of risk from Sacred Heart Catholic Church on the south side who live in mobile homes that are over 50 years old and are falling apart. And so one of Dr. King's last sermons, not his last speech, but his last sermon at the National Cathedral in DC was titled Sleeping Through a Revolution. He referenced Rip Van Winkle. And if you know the story of Rip Van Winkle, you know that when he went up the mountain to go into a deep sleep, King George III was the ruler of America. But when he woke up and came back down, George Washington was the president. And he talked about how, like Rip Van Winkle, the church in 1968, when he was giving this speech, was sleeping through a revolution. You had young boys dying for no real purpose in Vietnam. You had kids in the South with no tennis shoes and running water because of the poverty, black and white. And so I say that because the one thing I think that we have done wrong is we have idolized Dr. King to the point where we don't realize that we have a role to play in the revolution that he was taking part in when he was killed. And so this is an opportunity. I think Barbara said 15,000. One day we may have 15,000, but this year we have a goal of having 1,500 people from the 24 congregations that make up Risk at a Nehemiah action together, where we're going to ask our public officials to fix these mobile homes, to give people an affordable place to live, and to save the many mothers, fathers, sons, and daughters that we have lost to gun violence this past year and in the 4 years since we've been asking the mayor to do something about it. And so I want to encourage you to come to the Nehemiah Action. It's on March 19th at St. Paul's Baptist Church, and that's on Creighton Road, not the one on the south side. And we're going to be there, and just imagine how powerful it's going to be if St. Paul's is filled with 1,500 people, and our city council members see that, and we're able to participate and not sleep through the revolution that's happening here in Richmond. So if you have any more questions, I'll be standing outside after service, and I'll have some information there. Thank you for having me today. Thank you for all the hugs that have been shared with me. And I look forward to seeing you all on March 19th. Thank you.
You sure do.
It is written in the colors of 1,000 autumn twilights, painted in the eyes of a child. spoken as forgiveness by an honest open hand. It's a friend who walked the extra mile. It's the giving when there is not enough.
There is everywhere the evidence of love.
Open your
Eyes and look upon the handiwork of God. Oh,
open
your soul and feel the breath of glory all around. For everywhere there's evidence of love.
It is living in the riches, waving in the wind. It's music that moves us to believe. And dying in a small town, knowing where true life begins. It's hope beyond what we can see. It's the mercy when tears are not enough.
There is everywhere the evidence of love. Open your eyes and look upon the handiwork of God. Oh, oh,
Open
your soul and feel the breath of glory all around. For everywhere there's evidence of love. Oh, everywhere there's evidence of love.
a simple memory hanging on the wall.
Everywhere there's evidence of love. Everywhere there's evidence of love.
Open your
Eyes and look upon the handiwork of God. Oh, 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 open your soul and feel the breath of glory all around. For everywhere there's evidence of love. Oh, everywhere there's evidence of love.
Vicky and Armand, beautiful. Thank you, thank you. Everywhere there's evidence of love. And that evidence is when we put our love into action. So our Black History Month Spotlight is going to be presented by Barbara today, and he's going to share with us about Althea Neal Gibson.
Good morning. It's been a powerful service so far. Very unusual. Risk. Bring out some good points because what are we here for? Our politicians are God sent too. And we have to bless them also. Even sometimes they know what they do. Anyway, so today I'm going to talk about Althea Neal Gibson, who was before Arthur Ashe, but they seem to forget. I don't know, because if she was a woman or, well, let me not go there, or they forgot. But we want to give her her just due. She was born in a little town called Silver, South Carolina, on August 25th, 1927. She passed away in September 28th, 2003 in East Orange, New Jersey. She lived a very productive and thrilling life for 76 years. I didn't know that. Despite the many obstacles in her life, she was an American tennis player, professional golfer, recording artist, author, singer, and saxophone player. She was one of the first Black athletes to cross the color line of international tennis. In 1956, when I was a little boy, she was one of my sheroes. She became the first African American to win a Grand Slam title, which was called the French Championship at the time. The following year, she won both the Wimbledon and the U.S. Nationals, a precursor to the U.S. Open. Then both again in 1948 and 1958, and voted Female Athlete of the Year by the Associated Press both years. In all, she won 11 Grand Slams tournaments, 5 single tournaments, 5 double tournaments, and 1 mixed double tournament. She said she is one of the greatest players. Bob Ryland said she was one of the greatest players who ever lived. He was a tennis expert and contemporary and former coach of Venus and Serena Williams. He said that Martina Navratilova couldn't touch her. And he said that she could have beat Serena and Venus Williams. I said, I didn't know that either. But I want to invite you, this is going off script, to just open up your mind to different cultures and different heroes and sheroes. Because there's a lot of people out there, even regular people, like Denzel, and other people who are doing great things, that we don't know about. But we expand our knowledge base. Gibson was inducted into the International Tennis Hall of Fame and International Women's Sports Hall of Fame in 1960s. She became the first Black player to compete in the Women's Professional Golf Tour. I didn't know that either. Remember though, Gibson was born in the Jim Crow South. And you weren't allowed to play tennis down there. And I think they just could play up here in Virginia. But it was segregated, and she busted through. It was in Clarendon County, her father and mother, Daniel and Annabelle Gibson, Annabelle is a Southern name, who were sharecroppers on a cotton farm. The definition of a sharecropper is a tenant farmer who gives part of each crop as rent, and they have meager salary. In other words, they were very poor. The Great Depression hit rural Southern farmers after the banks crashed the stock market, and the entire country was in a state of financial crisis. So in 1930, her family moved to Harlem, New York City, as part of the Great Migration, where Althea and 3 sisters and a brother were born. The apartment was located on the stretch of 143rd Street between Lenox and 7th Avenue. They had been designated as a police athletic league, PAL. Anybody remember PAL? Boys Club, Girls Club, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. They saved a lot of kids, including me. Hello? The play area during the daylight hours was barricaded so the neighborhood children could play and organize sports. Otherwise, they wouldn't have anything. They'd be in a life of crime. Gibson quickly became proficient in paddle tennis, and by 1939, at the age of 12, she became the New York City paddle tennis champion. Check this out. Gibson quit school at age 13 and using her boxing skills taught by her father, engaged in a life she called, later referred to as street fighting other girls. Girls basketball, well, you had to do that back then. I mean, to survive, you had to fight. I didn't want to fight, but sometimes I had to. I would run most of the time. I could outrun them because I didn't like to hurt nobody. It's like, I don't play. I don't box. You know, I used to think about killing people. So because of her fear of her father's violence, she ran away. And she was housed in a Catholic Protective Services shelter for abused children. In early days, in 1940, a group of Gibson's neighbors, so you know it takes a village, like here at Unity, where we have a great outreach program with Caritas and Nail Risk and other things, where we help other people, because we're really helping ourselves. They took up a collection for her to get her first lessons in tennis in a place called Sugar Hill in Harlem. At first, Gibson didn't like tennis. The sport she thought was for the weak people. As she explained, so her fighting wasn't gone. She kept wanting to fight other players every time she started a match, because that's what she thought she had to do. In 1941, she entered and won her first tournament, the American Tennis Association, ATA New York Championships. She won the ATA National Championship in 1944 and 1945. And after losing to the women's final in 1946, she won the first of 10 straight national ATA titles in 1947. That's amazing. She said, I knew I was an unusual, talented girl through the grace of God. I didn't need to prove that to myself. I only wanted to prove it to my opponents. She did a lot of stuff, and I'm not going to go over all of it, but I invite you to Google it, because I see a signal from Reverend Valorie. No, just kidding. I'd include the Rev in this. She also became the first Black woman to appear on the covers of Sports Illustrated and Time magazine. I didn't know that either. In the late 1948, having won 56 national and international singles and double titles, Gibson retired from amateur tennis. She wasn't making any money. They didn't pay her. What kind of sugar honey iced tea is that? You get it? We're slow. I was slow too. And she said, I got to read you this though. She said, the truth, to put it bluntly, that my finances are in a heartbreaking shape. Being the queen of tennis is all well and good, but you can't eat a crown, nor can you send the Internal Revenue Authority clip to a tax form. The landlord and grocer and tax collector are funnier that way. They like cold, hard cash. I reign over an empty bank account. So she was a practical person too. Then she played professional golf and won. And this was 15 years before the women's tournaments got a lot of money. So I guess they forgot about her, but she didn't forget. She used to play, tournament games before the Harlem Globetrotters. And she was also a singer. She sang at W.C. Handy's 84th birthday celebration at the Waldorf Astoria. She cut a record. She was signed to an album. She was a badass sister. Althea Neal Gibson, Neal is spelled N-E-A-L-E. Althea Neal Gibson. Blessings. And I'll have this outside so you can look at it about.
Here I am. Another badass sister who we love and care about. Our one and only Katrina Carol Lewis is in another play at Firehouse. It's called Memories of Public Development. Putting together a group next Friday, opening night is this Friday. This is a play for our time. This is not an easy play, but it is really important. And I will also say that our Katrina, who loves to sing so much, has become the associate director of the Firehouse Theater. There are a lot of other opportunities. I'll put this out on the graph one, but we're going to put this together and swap back next Friday.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Rob. I still promise you'll be out before the Super Bowl starts today. And we have the delight of having Katrina present next Sunday. You know how been working on this for 2 years. So share the event with your friends and bring people to this gospel and to the music presentation next week. So thank you. So we're here. It's the month of love. I mean, we have Valentine's Day coming up. We have this month we're studying the second of 12 powers, and because of all of the focus in February on service and on a celebration of love, we're going to celebrate our power of love this month, the power of divine love. Now, the 12 powers, as been taught by Unity, is a unique teaching that Unity that Charles Fillmore brought forth. Unique to Unity and the Unity movement. And these 12 powers, we're going to have one each month. This month, we're celebrating the power of divine love. And I'm going to share a little bit of background about the 12 powers, definitions of what love is and what love isn't, and I'll share you another story of someone who was able to apply the power of love in their life in spite of very difficult conditions. I'd like to start with 1 Corinthians, though, when we're talking about what love is and isn't. 1 Corinthians 13, the New International Version by the Apostle Paul said, love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. And love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, it always trusts, and it always hopes, always perseveres. And love never fails. These 12 powers, as I mentioned, are the 12 divine attributes that make up our Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness is the I am presence. In Jungian psychology, it's called the superconscious mind. And this superconscious mind impresses and informs our conscious and subconscious with truth and divine ideas when used properly. This consciousness, the Christ consciousness, is the realization that Jesus taught in his short 3-year ministry. What did he teach? Love, forgiveness, inclusion. He taught his disciples how to live life inside out rather than outside in. Inside, from spiritual consciousness, from living the spirit of the law, instead of living from ego and living from whatever is out here is happening to me. So the 12 powers you can see on the slide are listed as follows. We've got faith, imagination, will, understanding, power, enthusiasm, order, strength, love, wisdom, release, and life. So, like I said, we'll go in depth a little bit each month on these. And they work together. They don't work alone. Just like the disciples. Jesus called 12 disciples. And so each of the powers in the teaching is represented by one of Jesus' disciples as well. But we don't have time to go into depth with that. However, Barbara Hess will be teaching a 12 powers class in the spring, in May. So we can learn a lot more about the 12 powers. So our definition in Unity of the power of divine love, or the power of love, is that it is the harmonizing, unifying, attractive power of the universe. It's the glue that holds everything together, or harmonizes and brings together from chaos. We can love from a human perspective, of course, and we can love from spiritual perspective. But love is not just an idea or a word. It's a power in the creative process that works with all of our other divine powers. We can use love, again, as I said, from sense consciousness, or we can use it from spiritual consciousness. It's pivotal in our consciousness because often we're kind of moving back and forth in our thinking, aren't we? We're not always living from that enlightened consciousness. So in Unity book, Unity Minister Reverend Linda Martella Whitsitt, former CEO of our Silent Unity or Unity Prayer Ministry, in Divine Audacity, she says that love is misunderstood, that when love is thought of as merely just a feeling or a desire or attachment or devotion, then that devotion, those attachments, those desires can turn into an unhealthy mind. So, as I said, we're not here to talk about love as a feeling. We're here to talk about love as principle, love as an attribute of God. The definition that John said in the New Testament, that God is love. Love is the principle of universal power, of magnetism, harmony, and unity, according to both Linda Martella Whitsitt and our Unity and the Fillmores. This love is without object. It is the drawing power of the mind, that Charles Fillmore said in his talks on truth. This is the power to draw to oneself, to people and situations that reflect unity and harmony. And this is what the law of attraction is really about. It is not about attracting things, although things may be a fringe benefit or a byproduct of how we use our power of love. Our co-founder, Charles Fillmore, said in the revealing word, love in divine mind is the idea of universal unity. In expression, it is the power that joins and binds together the universe and everything in it. Love is a harmonizing, constructive power. Love is an inner quality that sees good everywhere and in everybody. It insists that all is good, and by refusing to see anything but good, it causes that quality to appear in the uppermost in itself and all things. It is the great harmonizer and healer. Again, that's from the Revealing Word. Our Daily Word magazine has an article in there about one woman, and her name is Letitia Hankey. And I read this article early on. I always read the articles that are in the Daily Word because I always find them, very informative, enlightening. And Letitia Hankey is a black woman who now is a business owner of a roofing company, a contractor. And when she grew up, She was her family was living in Berkeley, California, very diverse community, but at one point her father, they moved the family to some land that the family owned in a rural area of California. And when they moved into that community, that's when she started to feel all of the prejudice and the persecution and abuse that she experienced in school. She and her brother were the only 2 of 6 black children in their school growing up when they moved there. So she began to develop a low self-esteem, hated herself. She hated her hair. She hated the color of her skin because of how people were treating her. So she went through school, and a lot of times things would happen on the playground and teachers would not intervene. And eventually, though, one teacher, a music teacher, engaged her to come to her classroom and learn how to play an instrument. She taught her how to play the saxophone. She became really good at playing the saxophone. She learned how to read music. So her esteem got a little bit taller. She learned how to, she got so good at it that she was put in the high school band at age 12, okay, how well she played the saxophone. She also got involved in her church. She taught herself how to play the piano. She also sang in choir, praise and worship music, and she really developed this love for music. In fact, the article is called Raising the Roof, raising the roof with music. So it has multiple meanings because through the joy of music, because of her roofing business, and her praise and worship that gave her joy and brought her out of her shell that she had developed as being impacted by racism. So she got better and better, and she decided, to go to school to go into college. And in college, she worked 2 jobs to put herself through school. And she was so good at her job in the roofing business company that she worked for that they asked her to be in charge of it. The business doubled in business and income, and got so successful that actually she eventually quit school to go to work full time, and the owner of the company said, "You should buy this company, it should be yours." So she sought to become a contractor, and went through a 4-year process of getting her contractor's license and to run this business. Now she's a black woman running a business. That's like 3% of business owners. That's a very low percentage. Lots of odds against her. And as she went into business, she became, excited about it and everything. And then when she realized at one point when she went to see a client and they to give a bid on the roof, they were shocked that she was black. They were shocked that she was a woman, probably too. But they also took her as, they thought she was some kind of a criminal trying to break in their house. So we sometimes, as white people, want to say we're not racist, but we do have racist ideology because we don't understand the impact of our thought processes, and we're unconscious of it. And that's not saying, not beat ourselves up and stuff, but we just need to be aware and more conscious of the lived experience of our fellow human beings, no matter what culture, what race, what orientation. So anyway, she grew this business, and it became so successful, even quadrupled. And she even came to the point where she started a foundation where she could start to give back and help young people in high school. Her foundation would help young people paired with merchants and people who were looking for trade workers and stuff like that. So she contacted high schools, parole offices, and various nonprofit organizations to give young people a chance and to give them some coaching on, you can do this. You can, no matter what crap you've gone through in your life, you can persist, and you can break through that, just like Althea Gibson, right? And just like many, many of our heroes that we talk about, and the unknown ones that we don't know about because we're still learning. So she has this Next Gens Trades Academy, and she's giving back, and she's putting her love into action, and that's really what it's all about. We can talk about the concept of love, but when we put it into action, there's evidence of love, because not only the evidence of God and Spirit everywhere, but also evidence of our love in action when we go out there and we show up. Now, there were Pharisees and Sadducees who were trying to trip Jesus up when he was out there preaching. And they asked him, what is the most important commandment? And there's like hundreds of commandments in the Torah, right? So what's the most important one? They were doing this because their authority was questioned, threatened, so they thought. So they were plotting to undermine him. But in Matthew 22 reads, "Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law?" And Jesus replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself." So what does that mean? Love your neighbor as yourself. Love God, love yourself, love your neighbor. So I thought, wow, as I was preparing this, I thought, well, there's, when we look at the Bible in Unity, we look at it in metaphysically. So I thought, the Sadducees and the Pharisees are those thoughts of our intellect that fight against our spiritual consciousness to stay in control. They don't allow Spirit to be in charge or to lead because they're fighting for control. So metaphysically, the higher self says to the ego, his answer is the most important thing is to harmonize and unify your thoughts with the I am. And the second most important thing is to love the I am in your neighbor as yourself. To see that sacredness of a human being. Now, I'm used this quote before by Marianne Williamson. She said, "By aligning yourself with thoughts of infinite love for yourself and others, you gain dominion over the lower thought forms of the world." She also said, "You are loved, and your purpose is to love. And from a mind filled with love, with infinite love, comes the power to create infinite possibilities. We have the power to think and attract all the love in the world. Such thinking is called enlightenment. It is the answer to every problem." Again, quote unquote, Marianne Williamson. So we want to use this power of love. So when we know deep in our heart that you are, I am, we are love, created by love and for love, then when you meet another human being, even when they're not acting from their higher consciousness and they're acting maybe from their woundedness, you can still access that divine love within you by pausing and meet that person or that behavior with your own love. And of course, we have to stay in check with ourselves. So we have to release ourselves first, whatever thoughts we're holding that are keeping us from allowing that love to move through and in and as us. And so Catherine Ponder said an affirmation, "Divine love is doing its perfect work in me." Divine love is doing its perfect work in me. You can say that for another person too. Divine love is doing its perfect work in you. Now, in my spiritual study with a nom who spoke here in December, just recently I had taken some notes from the talk, and these are the notes. Love is not passive. It entitled us to move all in this moment. Love is the only mind cleaner. Bless each injury with your blessing. And remember, God has already met this moment. God has already met this moment. And always have, how would you have me help? How would you have me help when we're interacting with others? If we remember that nature, then we can be the light to the darkness. And we can come, because we came from stardust, that substance of God. Energetically, we can shift energy from fear to love. Recall a person in your life with whom you felt such love, or a spiritual teacher, or prophet, teacher, Jesus. Recall that time when you felt that love radiating from them to you. Did it not shift you in how you see the situation or the circumstance itself? That is the power of divine love. Because divine love will bring forth the good in whatever the circumstance. In whatever the circumstance. So I'm going to finish with a little piece by Mary Morrissey. It's called Harmonizing the Energies of Love. She has in the Miracle Minute a quote by Teilhard de Chardin, who said, once man has mastered the winds and the waves, gravity and the sky, he shall harness for God the energies of love. And then, for the second time in the history of humankind, we will have discovered fire. Right? Yes. So how we have outstripped, Mary Morrissey is speaking now, she says, have we outstripped our technology in that direction compared to how well we have learned to harness the energies of love? Imagine harnessing the energies of love. What might that mean for ourselves, to our families, to our workplace, and our world? Many of us would like someone. Boy, do I need reading glasses. Many of us would like someone else to figure out how to interact and harness the energies of love. Let somebody else do it. That's sleeping through the revolution. Okay? But who is going to be the one to do it? It is going to be you and I, and it's going to be me. So, today, let each of us focus on how we would harness the energy of love for ourselves, for our families, for our workplace, and ultimately for a better world. Thank you. So I close out with I'd like to go back to the Corinthians verse, because in Corinthians, when we look at that 1 Corinthians scripture, love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy, it does not boast. We can say it this way: I am patient, I am kind, I celebrate the good of others. So I'm not, looking at being jealous, right? I celebrate the good of others. I am humble. I honor others. I seek the greater good for all and not just myself. I am slow to anger. I release resentments. I rejoice in the truth. I am protection. I am trust. I am hope. I am perseverance. My love never fails. And so it is. You'll still get out in time for the Super Bowl today. But we do have a little meditation for you. Little meditation here. And this meditation, because there's the Sanskrit word for I am divine love is aham, ema. Aham prema. I am divine love. So I'd like us to put some time into that, and I want to start out with this bowl, really. Because our online people maybe can't hear it. I'm bringing the microphone, but we'll start with. Take that into your consciousness now. I am the expression of divine love. I am loved. I have been created by love, for love, and to love. I have all the love in the universe within me, before me, behind me, above me, and below me. And what I need to realign with this love, because I'm caught into condition. I take the time, I sit, I let go, I release, I allow, I surrender, and I open to love. You can picture, visualize, sense, or feel that the light of this love is coming down through the crown of your head, moving in, down through your spine and into your heart, and out through your hands and your feet. Radiating, harmonizing your body, harmonizing your thoughts, and allowing spirit to move me, to carry me, and resonate within me as a vehicle of love. Fully present, fully showing up as love in action. we take this thought that divine love is doing its work in me now into the quiet, the silence. So as we come to a close of this time together as a group, we carry this feeling, this resonance forward with us throughout our day and our week, throughout the work that we are called to do. And we feel our gratitude. For this community and this connection with this divine one within and all around. And so it is. Amen. All right, take a deep breath and stretch and yawn any way you like. For as we come to the close of the service, it's time for our gifts. And I do want to say, as before we say our prosperity blessing, that we are this month tithing to the following organizations. Because again, as we receive, we give. So we have our tithing checks going out to Caritas, the healing place for men this month. These are all January's tithes. Silent Unity, that's Unity Prayer Ministry. Unity Worldwide Ministries. The Unity Eastern Region. RISK. This is the year that we began giving to RISK. Yep. And we'll continue throughout the year. So we bless these tithes, we bless and give thanks for all your gifts in the way that you are so generous with our congregation. So today we say together, divine love, expressing through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am grateful.
Whoa, your love is like a river flowing from my heart. Your love is like a river flowing from my heart. When this cruel world tears us apart, your love is like a river flowing from my heart. When sharpened words have left their scars, your love is like a river flowing from my heart. And it's overflowing and showing us all how deep and how wide is your love. It never stops, it rages on. Your love is like a river flowing from my heart. When I am tired and so afraid, your love is like a fire that will light my way. When darkness falls and my vision fades, your love is like a fire that will light my way. And it's always burning and stirring my soul to know you and love you much more. It never stops, it never fades. love is like a fire that will light my way. It's never gonna stop. It's flowing from my heart. It's never gonna fade. Your fire will light my way. When all my strength and hope is gone, your love is like a rock that I am standing on. It's never gonna stop. It's flowing from my heart. It's never gonna fade. Your love is like a river flowing from my heart. Your love is like a fire that will light my way. Your love is like a rock that I am standing on. Your love is like a river flowing from my heart. Thank you.
Come on, folks. Gotta hurry up, the game starts soon. So together we'll say our gratitude for the gifts. We give thanks for the gifts that will support our mission of creating a spiritually awakened world. Okay, thank you. And I believe that we have some youth in the room, so if we could invite them forward, that would be great.
1, 2, 3.
Come on. Oh, we have a So we have a shy young person this morning, but we do have children, and we thank you for being here this morning. Mary Beth and the other young lady that helped out with the youth ministry, we thank you. Also, we are here. Also, Lent starts on Wednesday. There are these booklets, Let Go and Let God, great resource as we move through the season of releasing and letting go and accepting the good of God. And now we'll have our thank yous. I want to thank everyone for coming this morning, especially everybody. I don't want to make anybody feel less than special, because the truth of the matter is that we all are a blessing to this place we call our spiritual home. And we all bring our gifts and talents, so everyone is appreciated. But particularly, we'd like to thank the AV in the back. We got Rob, Rich, and I believe Bernice is back there. And our band, Forrest, Ryan, and Ian. Our newlyweds, Vicky and Armin, our resident singers. Valorie for the wonderful message. For our guests, Denzel, and Barbara for her words of wisdom. And Barbara, I haven't forgotten, I'm just making my rounds. And Barbara for his wonderful presentation about Thea Gibson. You know, it's amazing to hear of the people that we don't hear about so much in their journeys. And as Barbara said, there are lots of them out there. So we just continue to grow and unfold and learn, and we just keep it going.
And we thank Robin.
And I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I mean, the game doesn't start till 6:30. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. And we have our prayer chaplains over to the left. We have Lynn and Tom, who will be, and Carol, who will be available to, if you'd like prayer after the service. And I want to say thank you to everyone for your continued love and support as I'm moving through this journey of a new life. So thank you. And we'll say our prayer of protection and our peace song. The prayer of protection: the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Amen.
Let there be peace on earth, then let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony.